They say that trust is one of the most important things in a relationship, and it's hard to argue against that. If you can't trust your partner, then there's no way that relationship is going to work out. But the thing is, trust is also something that can be used as a weapon. And when it's used that way, well, that's a very dangerous thing indeed. When someone is trying to manipulate you or deceive you, they will often try to build up your trust before striking. And by the time you realize what happened, it might already be too late. That's why it is so important to learn how to spot the signs of someone who is playing you. And if you think this won't happen to you, just remember that even the smartest and most rational people can fall prey to emotional manipulation. So don't make the mistake of thinking yourself invincible. After all, there are plenty of stories about smart, rational people getting scammed each year. Let us look at some of the ways that trust can be used as a tool for manipulation and deception. Before we get into it, have you ever been betrayed? Let me know down in the comments. No. 1. You trust them too much. Imagine this. You tell your friend about an opportunity that you have. You want to start a business with him. It seems like a good idea, and he seems enthusiastic at first. But then he starts asking for more and more money. At first, you thought it was a good idea to go into business together. He said he trusted you. But now you're starting to feel manipulated. This is called trust exploitation. The scammer will use your trust in them to gain something from you. They may ask for money, favors, or personal information. For example, let's say you have a lot of money and someone you barely know invites you to invest in their business. Or perhaps you have a friend who asks you for money and promises to pay you back. These are examples of trust exploitation. The scammer will typically create a false sense of closeness or familiarity in order to gain your trust. For example, they may act like they've known you for years or pretend to be experts in business. It's important to be aware of this tactic so that you can protect yourself from scammers and manipulators. If someone you don't know well asks you for money or asks you to do something that makes you uncomfortable, it's best to say no and walk away. Don't let your guard down just because someone seems nice or trustworthy. No. 2. They take advantage of your empathy. We all have an innate ability to empathize with others. We see someone crying and we offer a helping hand. We see someone who looks like they need help and we stop to lend a hand. But this natural instinct can be exploited by scammers. Empathy is a powerful emotion that can lead us to act without thinking. It can cause us to overlook red flags and make bad decisions. Scammers know this and they will often play on our empathy to trick us. Let's look at some examples. You see a panhandler on the street and you feel bad for them. So you reach into your pocket and pull out some change and hand it to them. But what if the person you gave the money to wasn't really in need? What if it was a scammer who was just looking for an easy target? You might not think that this could happen to you, but it's more common than you think. In fact, there are people who make a living by scamming people like you and me. So how do you defend yourself against this type of manipulation? First, be aware of it. Recognize that scammers often target people who are empathetic. Second, don't feel pressured to help someone just because you feel sorry for them. Take the time to assess the situation and decide if you really want to help. Third, be careful with personal information. Never give out your personal information to someone you don't know and trust. Even if you feel bad for them, it's not worth the risk. Finally, remember that you're not alone. If you're being targeted by a scammer, don't be afraid to ask for help from friends, family, or authorities. There is no shame in needing help. And taking these steps will help keep you safe from those who would take advantage of your empathy. No. 3. You ignore the red flags. Red flags are the warning signs that tell us something isn't right. Maybe it's a gut feeling you get when someone is being dishonest, or maybe it's a logical thought that pops into your head when someone's behavior seems irrational. Whatever the form, red flags are there to protect us from harm. Ignoring them can lead to disaster. So why do we do it? Well, it can be tempting to ignore the warning signs. Maybe we want to believe the best about someone, or maybe we're just too busy to deal with the problem. Whatever the reason, ignoring red flags can lead to disaster. Let's take the example of a friend who always lets you down. Maybe they've made promises they didn't keep, or maybe they've been there for you when you needed them the most. Despite the red flags, you still find yourself forgiving them over and over again. But why? Why do you keep making excuses for them? Is it because you don't want to confront the issue? Is it because you're afraid of losing their friendship? Whatever the reason, you're ignoring the red flags, and that can be dangerous. When we ignore red flags, we're essentially giving up our power. We're allowing other people to dictate our emotions and reactions rather than taking control ourselves. This can lead to a cycle of manipulation and abuse. So how do we break the cycle? Well, it starts with awareness. We need to become aware of our own negative thought patterns and beliefs that contribute to the problem. Once we've identified these thoughts, we can challenge them and replace them with more positive and helpful ones. We also need to set boundaries and stick to them. This can be difficult, especially if we're dealing with someone who's used to getting their way. But it's as important to remember that we have the right to say no, and that doesn't make us selfish. Finally, we need to practice self-care. We need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves emotionally and physically. This means doing things like journaling, exercising, and eating healthy. When we take care of ourselves, we're better able to cope with stress and difficult situations. Ultimately, ignoring red flags is a mistake. It can lead to disaster, but we can break the cycle by becoming aware of our own negative thought patterns and beliefs, setting boundaries and sticking to them, and practicing self-care. If you think someone is taking advantage of you, please reach out for help. It may be hard to admit that you've been taken advantage of, but it's important to remember that you're not alone. There are people who care about you and want to help. Don't be afraid to reach out to them. You can also reach out to a mental health professional who can provide you with the support and guidance you need to move forward. Healing from emotional manipulation takes time, but with the right support, you can do it. Just remember that you're not alone. Do you have any experience with someone using trust to manipulate or deceive you? Please share your story down in the comments. Your story could help someone else who is going through the same thing. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Have a great day.